Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Mike Ames Recruitment Show, where we're going to be talking about making the new version of LinkedIn work for you. We have a guest today who kind of spends a lot of time around LinkedIn and knows what they're talking about. And for most people watching or listening to this, most people are aware LinkedIn has changed, and we're going to talk about how you can get the most gains from it moving forward. Isn't that right, Michael?
You ram damn tootin', it's right. I'll tell you that right now. The thing is that I love LinkedIn, and I have noticed. I think we've all noticed the change. Come on now, we've all noticed that it's not what it used to be, and posts that you would confidently expect to get 5, 10, 15,000, whatever your kind of averagey post number was, it's a fraction of that now. To begin with, I thought it was me. I thought,
upsetting time for you.
Wrong? I can't write anymore. I don't use Claude or anything like that. So maybe I'm thinking, I should use AI to write my posts, and it's not me. It's like everybody. And there is a general kind of shift with LinkedIn. Not that they ever announce it or would ever tell anybody. And our guest today certainly hasn't got that inside track like we haven't, but you can draw conclusions. Yeah. And so I wanted our guest today, Darren, to come on. He's the CEO and co-founder, Darren Westall, the CEO and co-founder of Paiger, which I'm sure everyone has heard of. It's a platform for AI BD, it's marketing, it's workflow, it's a whole bunch of different stuff. But that's not the reason why we're having him on the show. The reason we're having him on the show is he's got a real bead on LinkedIn, because his firm, his software, has to interact with it, or at least work with it. I wouldn't say necessarily interact, or maybe put us right on that, but certainly it works with LinkedIn, and it's his job to understand what's going on or be able to draw conclusions from the things that he sees. So he's ahead of most people in the game, I think, on this. So I am delighted to welcome Darren to the show.
Hi, Darren.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Darren, it's an absolute pleasure. So hope I didn't say anything in there and you're saying, no, that's not, no, that doesn't apply. So
no, you're all good. You're all good.
Or thereabouts.
Sweet, isn't it? Okay, well, without further ado, I know this is something that, like Mike said, a lot of people have been noticing things lately. You know, LinkedIn impressions have been dropping, something that would have got thousands of impressions, 6 months ago. Now we're getting 1,000 max. In your opinion, Darren, what's happened? What have LinkedIn done? What have they done?
So I think what they're trying to do is prioritize good content. And the problem we've got is everybody's version of good is subjective, right? But I think, Mike, you hit the nail on the head there where you're thinking, I should use AI to write my posts, etc. We've seen an explosion of what I'd call poor content, right? AI should get you 95% of the way there. It should assist you with the first draft. It shouldn't be the only thing you post. So what LinkedIn have done, we're getting lots of low value content on our platform. How do we actually prioritize people getting good content, which means shifting the algorithm? So I wouldn't say they're necessarily punishing you, but it absolutely is harder now to get the organic reach. And let's not mistake the monetization of LinkedIn, right? They want people to stay on the platform. They are an ad business at the end of the day. And if you're leaving the platform, you're not interacting with the post. If it's bots talking to bots, they don't want that. So there is absolutely a monetization about it as well. But the big thing to take away is it's not you. It's just they want good quality content, and it's really subjective. And I've got my opinions on what good quality content is, but that's kind of where they've gone. They can't have a newsfeed just filled with AI trash, rubbish, low value content. They need it to be good, purposeful content. And when they can, they want to squeeze some money out of you as well, for being honest.
Fair enough. So it's almost like a reaction.
That's a really interesting.
Oh,
well, sorry, Mike and I spoke at the same time.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, sorry, Kirsty. Yeah, you go.
No, you go. It's okay.
I was just going to say that I think that I've noticed the monetization thing because we pay to get some of our posts boosted.
Right? Yeah.
Because we realized, and I don't know whether anybody else in your sphere, because you know a lot of people that use LinkedIn, obviously, talk to them about it, but we noticed that if we produced any post at all, which was a promo post, so I don't mean I'm not trying to sell what I do, for the show, for example, right, we would regularly get 3,000-4,000 views of a promo for the show.
Yeah.
It's a fraction of that now. It's tiny in comparison now. A couple of 300 sometimes, average about 400 or 500. just for the show. Whereas in the past, we're not selling anything. We're just trying to give value. But LinkedIn it seems to me, sort of saying, well, look, it's a promo. You want people to visit your whatever it is, your events. That's fine. You pay us and we'll make sure it gets to them. And that's really what we're doing. I mean, I don't know whether we should or not, but that's what we do to get people to see what we're doing, is to pay people. I mean, is that just us, or is that common across the piece?
No, the way I say is organic proves the message, and then you pay to scale it. So you don't always if you're jumping straight to paying for it, you've missed the point. Yeah. So what I would say is your network is the most powerful thing when it comes to organic. So what I've actually had to do is I had 20,000 connections on LinkedIn. I've now got 10,500, but my post reach has gone up. What I had to do was go through every single connection and just ask myself, do you add value to my business? I might have gone to school with you. They might be a family friend. I'm sorry, if you're not in my network of people I want to reach, you're gone, right? And that's not me being harsh, but the way that I think LinkedIn are testing it is when you do a post, they put it out to a subset of your connections. And if your connections interact with it, then they promote it to the rest and their connections, etc. So if you think about it, you've got 20,000 for them to choose from. If they take 500 of them and 200 of them are not in recruitment, they're not in your niche, they're not anything to do with what you do, automatically that post is not going to reach as many people. So the first thing you need to do is just cleanse your network and make sure they're all.
Let's just stop right there. Let's just stop right there. That is an awesome statement. Let me just drill into that a little bit, because I did not see that one coming. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense, actually.
It does.
And I wonder, because there used to be a thing on LinkedIn. I think it hasn't been like this for some time, but it was a measurement of how cool you were by how many connections. Like how many connections you've got on LinkedIn. Oh, really? You've got 10,000. I've got 12,000. So I'm more popular than you. But actually, that's a complete reversal now. It's not the size, it's the quality.
It is.
The relevance to you.
They need to make it fair to new members as well, right? So if you're brand new to LinkedIn, how on earth do you get reach on your posts? Yeah. Well, you can't, because you haven't got the 20,000 connections. But actually, if you need to connect with 500 people, and out of those 550 people engage with it, LinkedIn know that's a good quality piece of content, even though you're only on the platform for a week, 2 weeks. So it's a way for them to also bring new members on and give them the same amount of reach as what somebody that's been on network for a long time. So the reason I say that is, if you're sitting there kicking yourself, you're only getting 1,000 views now. Well, actually, the question to ask yourself is, you may have got 5,000 before, but were 4,000 with irrelevant people you don't care about? So, you mentioned measuring connections. People used to measure how many likes they got, and that feeds their dopamine. They feel nice about it, right? The big thing to measure is not how many likes, it's how much engagement you get from the right people, and how many conversations you create off the back of that. A conversation can be a phone call, it can be a conversation in the comments, it can be in your LinkedIn DMs. But that's the measurement. It's not really things that make you feel good. Look at the size of my connection list, if you know what I'm talking about. It's not the size of your connections, it's how you use it, Mike. All right.
I've been saying that for years.
I just need earmuffs. What's going on?
Yeah. No. Hey. On this, just because this is really, really important, right? And it set me thinking, because I always thought I was pretty good on accepting connections, right? It's just sort of, if someone invited me to connect who was an engineer from Buenos Aires, I wouldn't connect, right? Why would I bother? But actually, it's funny, this is connected with me now. I was recently looking through my connections because I was looking to see if someone had accepted an invitation to connect. And a lot of those people, I just think, you're in the space, you're in recruitment, but you're no use to me. I just left them there because I didn't realize, it's doing me any harm. But I totally get this, And I think an audit of your LinkedIn connections would be first order of duty, really. I think, how long did it take you to get from 20,000 to 10,000, though?
It was over the course of 2 days. I did other work. But
2 days, that's way quicker than I thought it would be. My God.
Yeah, I mean, I'm brutal, Kirsty. If I look at them and go, no, it might have been, I don't know, someone that I'm really good friends with, but if they're not in recruitment, I can't get money from them, they're out of there. I'm brutal.
I made the cut, Kirsty. I made the cut.
I don't know if he's on the show today. Tomorrow, you'll be gone.
No, I didn't see your name on there, Kirsty. I'm just saying. Just saying.
the big thing is, look, I think hopefully we can all agree generalist recruitment is dead, right? Hopefully we can agree that. Think about that from a LinkedIn point of view, right? You cannot be a generalist on LinkedIn anymore. You can't afford to be. You need to be in a niche. You need to be in a specialism. All of your content needs to talk about that. So, you cannot just go on there to talk about anything in general anymore. If you're an IT recruiter, please don't speak about IT. Speak about DevOps within London. This is how niche I want you to get. And then I want your network to be filled with DevOps engineers in London, hiring managers in London that recruit for DevOps, and you're talking to that audience, because then 1,000 views from that audience is so much more valuable than 10,000 views from the whole world.
Let's just, that's another bomb drop moment there. Mic drop. Poof, right? Don't just say those things and press on to the next, because we need to dig into this, because again, it's something that my mental approach, which I don't think was just me, was here's something that I found interesting or useful. I'll write about it, because if I do, other people might as well. So it's not about being indulgent. It's not about, excuse me, it's not about drifting from one thing to another. This I think is useful, I'll post it. But we're not saying that anymore, are we? We're saying if it's useful and interesting and inside the box that you defined yourself, which is quite a tight box now. It's not this big kind of cavernous trunk. It's a really tight box. If it's not in there, I don't care how useful or interesting it is, don't post it. Is that where we're going with this now?
That's exactly what I've done. Yeah. So if it's not whether I find it interesting, it's whether my audience find it interesting, the people I'm trying to reach. So I've got two. You really should only have one, but I've got two core ideal customer profiles. Right. One is recruitment business owners. The other is recruitment marketers. And I post for both of those audiences. Ideally, the topic I'm talking about fits both. But that's what my network's made of. The golden topic is something that appeals to both of them. So it could be. Is 2026 the year to change your recruitment website? Fits both of those personas. That's a great post. I know that I'll reach the right people. And then what I do is I test it. And for me, organic is all about testing something. Does it resonate with the people I'm connected with? If it does, fantastic. That's when to ask yourself, would I pay to reach more people? Right. And if the answer is yes, that's when LinkedIn's sponsored posts come into play.
I have a question, actually, follow up quickly, Mike, before we move on that. I understand talking within the box and the niche about things that are valuable. Previously, we have always told people, or it's always been advantageous to do like the occasional personal post. So the post that's about you, that's, a little bit more funky or less corporate, less business focused, more about you. For example, Mike did a really good one a couple of years ago, International Women's Day. He did one about my mother, and the reason that he was so successful was because of her. Does that mean that we don't do those kind of posts anymore?
Absolutely not. No. We've got to remember that your audience is also real people. So people buy from people, right? That's not going to change. I hope it doesn't change in this AI world we're moving to. So what I would say is it's about building trust and credibility with these people. And then also, if you showcase a little bit of your personal life, your human side, that does no harm, right? I think it's nice that anyone buying Paiger knows that I'm a family man. I've got 2 kids. They're the reason I've started the business. I don't want them to work as hard as I've had to, frankly, right? These bags on my eyes, I don't want to see that in my kids, right? That is still valuable. But you do need to show your human side, because it is a social network at the end of the day. LinkedIn will tell you it's not a business network, blah, 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 but it is a social network. So no, what I would say is I don't recommend every post be like that, because then you're getting back into measuring likes. And if you want lots of likes on LinkedIn, you want to feel good, just post pictures of your cats and your kids. But if you want money, revenue at the end of it, then you need to actually have a content plan. That is one part of your content plan. Yeah,
and it's not. I'm assuming you wouldn't boost those posts, even if it got really good.
You should say that, because.
Okay, Mike.
Yeah, sorry. I think we've got a few synchronization issues at the moment. But as part of my testing that I went through recently, when I thought I was rubbish, I did post a very personal post, and it did 3 times as well as the best next one to it. So I think you're right. I think human beings will see something of interest. It connects with them as humans, as opposed to recruiters, which is, we both want the same market, don't we? And I still think it's relevant, but I'm not going to make any money on that. I totally get that.
No, if you go to my LinkedIn right now, you'll see a post of Andy Dunn at the Team Network opening a Lego set that I sent him as a thank you. Right now, that for me is the crosses over both. It's a personal thing. Andy's opening. He's so excited by it. He's a big kid, right? It really is. But that's a video content, personal. Andy opening it, excited. but also I want to tap into Andy's network. Make no mistake, Andy, I love you. I sent you a Lego set, but I did want you on LinkedIn talking about Paiger and, thank you, etc. So I'm now reaching all of Andy's connections through that type of post. So, there's always, if you're going to do those sorts of things, do it, but have a plan behind it as well.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. So now I have a question. Sort of, we've alluded to things. So we understand that in order to get a good post that kind of gets organic traffic, it has to be valuable to the audience, whether that's interesting, whether that's in knowledge or something has to be interesting to them. It does better if it's within a tighter niche, which you can also focus on, which I love if you target down your connections, if you kind of really focus in on your connections and take those out who perhaps aren't of value to you. Is there anything else that you can do that's going to increase your chances of getting organic traffic on LinkedIn?
Absolutely. And the answer is be part of it. And what I mean by that is if you're just taking without giving, it doesn't work. So if you want people to interact with your posts, number one thing you can do, interact with theirs. So actually look through, and that's another reason to strip all your connections back. So your newsfeed is just filled with the people that are your prospects, your customers, people you want to invest the time in. So, I spend 5 minutes a day just going through my LinkedIn newsfeed, liking, commenting, adding value to the post. Because then when they see my post, they think, he comments on my post, I'm going to comment back. So the answer is it's a community. You need to build your community. And time.
LinkedIn still does that thing, though, doesn't it, where it best guesses what you want to see. So I was told, in fact, it was old what's-his-face, Van der Blom, who we get some of his stuff and we read it. He said if there's somebody you specifically want to see what you're posting, you absolutely want to see that, you go to you've got to be following them or connected with them. You go to their profile, click on the bell at the top and then click all. And LinkedIn will show you all their posts then. Every single post they make will come.
You can absolutely do that, but I've also got my news feeds ordered differently. So by default, it's ordered by relevance. I've turned that off. I've got mine ordered by latest. So whenever I go on LinkedIn, it's my latest post because I want to be one of the first people to interact with the post because they're more likely to comment back, etc.
That's such a snazzy little tip because it makes sense. Like when you first launch it, you're told to interact more because the more interactions it gets earlier on, the more likely it is. So they're more likely to reply to you. That's a very clever tip. I like that.
Yeah, that is tip. Presume for that, Darren, you go to your settings and you change.
Literally on the top right of your newsfeed. So if you go to your newsfeed on your home screen, they may have moved it. I'm just doing it from memory, but you've got sort by at the bottom. Underneath, write an article, sort by, and the default is top. I changed mine to recent.
Yeah, that makes great sense. Yeah, this is turning out to be a good deal more practical than I hoped. And I'm so excited. Tell you that right now. Yeah.
I'm so excited. Okay, so I do want to kind of move on more to. I mean, we're talking about loads here and we're giving loads of tips. So I do want to move on to the BD in a bit, but before then, if I had a post that I thought was important, so either it was adding value, it was aimed at my niche, but it maybe had something in there that meant I wanted a lot of people to see it. Is the only way to get that post viewed by people, so you post it, see how it does, is the only way to then kind of boost it to pay for it? Or is there anything else I can do to get as many people as possible to see that post?
No, there's lots of things you can do. Paid is absolutely the shortcut. So think of it as going from 0 to 100, pay for it, you're all good. But you need to ask yourself, where else do the people that I want to see this post, where do they hang out? Now, if we take recruiters, for example, we love a WhatsApp group, don't we? We really do, right? So I've got a certain number of WhatsApp groups that either I will post a link in, or if there's somebody else within that group, I say, look, I think this is really valuable for your group. Would you mind sharing it in there? And then what you're doing is you're tapping into the networks of those people. So every like you get, every comment you get, that goes onto the newsfeed of those people. So if we come back to the Andy example, I made sure that I did put the link to that post in team, right? Because I want every team member to see that Andy's opening up his Lego set. This sounds really like I'm really cold and calculated. No, I'm not.
It's
generally
business,
want to have a Lego, right?
It's business.
But so ask yourself, what communities am I part of that I can actually post it? Now, that could be as simple as, right, let's stick with DevOps recruiters. I'm going to join Facebook groups on DevOps, and I'm going to actually put the link to the post in there. I'm going to go to websites like Hacker News, for example. I'm going to make sure I'm going to comment on some posts. I'm going to put my thoughts on that LinkedIn post on there. So you can ask yourself, what external sites or communities can I use to drive traffic back to it? And then the big question to ask yourself is, what are my people doing? The biggest frustration I have, and you know, it is one of the challenges that we help solve, but my biggest frustration, you can do it without tech, is if you've got 20 recruiters right now, what I always see is people do just a repost on the network or a comment with a thumbs up, and I'm like, that's not adding value, is it at all? So map out your recruiters in your business and go, right, where is the overlap? Who's trying to reach the same people? So if I've got a DevOps recruiter, I may have other people that specialize in software engineering. Well, they all report into the CTO, right? They all report upwards into the ultimate decision maker. So I would have those people cross-comment, share the content, etc., onto each other's networks. I wouldn't do that if I've got one person that specializes in SaaS sales within the business and they report into the CRO, because I don't want the CRO seeing my content. So I'd map out who's got networks that are cross-pollinating, worth doing that with, and then I would drive.
Can I just draw a conclusion here and see what you think? I know we've got to go to commercial break in just a moment before we come to the BD stuff, which I know people have tuned in for. But it seems to me as well, just listening to you, that you have to work harder with LinkedIn now than you've done in the past. In the past, you were just, you know, I used to do mine in the evenings, just sit there, scan through while I'm watching some program Mrs. Ames has on TV. And then make the comments and what have you, or if I didn't have time, I didn't do it. But now what we're saying is you've got to really think about this a lot more, haven't you? The whole thing that you said today is about thinking a lot more.
I think that's the case across the board. AI has made it so that if you want to do low value effort, you can do it like that. So the same way that I believe cold calling has changed, you need to do at least 2-3 minutes of prep, because AI can, spam calls. It's the same thing for your LinkedIn content. So you need to go into everything well prepped, researched with a plan, and there's no difference between that and LinkedIn and cold calling.
Wow. And this is great stuff. This is, I mean, I again, the only thing I would say, and I'm not being derogatory to the market that feeds me, but sometimes recruiters can be overly transactional. It's like, if I can't make money out of this thing I'm doing now, I need to move on and do something that is going to make money. And what we're talking about here is very much stepping back and looking at the big picture and spending a lot of time to get things organized in the right way before you can move forward. And I just hope that recruiters listening to this or watching this can appreciate that. This is not a quick fix, is it? This is not something you can just do. You need to put some effort into this to make it work.
So many people are trying to automate the job of a recruiter, but we need to remember what makes a recruiter great. It's the recruiter, right? So build that human touch, that element into it. And it might mean that you don't have as many conversations in the day. That's okay, as long as you're having good quality conversations with the people you want to speak to.
Yeah. Well, we'll come to conversations in a minute. I know, because they're really important.
I'm really excited, and I keep forgetting that I do.
I can tell that, Kirsty, because you're not saying very much.
I know. I'm spending too much time listening. It's a problem. I've got. I'm sorry. I'm coming back to my job now. So as we talked about, in a second, we are going to be kind of talking to Darren a little bit more about sort of BD, outbound kind of focus activities. But before then, Mike, it is in fact time for a message from our sponsor, and that sponsor is still us.
Come to me for a second. Let me just look on the screen for a minute. There we go. Right. Okay. So one of the things which we may or may not talk about, genuinely, it's not been planned, but we're going to talk about video in a minute, I know. But one of the things that we may talk about is that the quality of a live event like we are today. This is a live event. This is not AI generated. This is unfolding as you watch or listen to it, unless you're watching or listening to a recording, of course. So this concept of a live podcast is relatively new still. They've been around for years, but in terms of using them to promote yourself and actually kick off conversations is relatively new. So we have a little free event for you. So Kirsty, it's a workshop. It's an online workshop, and we're going to be, Kirsty's going to be showing people how to run your own live podcast, just like the Mike Ames Recruitment Show. You can have one of these for yourself, right? So we're going to show you how to choose a compelling topic, which ties in with what Darren was just saying actually really nicely. The structure of your show, which is incredibly important. From the outside, it should look as though there isn't one, but inside there very definitely is. How to invite guests on your show and get the guests that you want. How to get lots of attendees. Now, ironically, you don't want too many attendees because that's counterproductive. You want just the right amount. And again, harks back to what Darren said, the right quality is what you're looking for. And how you can use it as a sales tool, not a marketing tool. So let me show you the details of that. It's a 1-hour online workshop. So it's just online. It's in the middle of the day, I think. It's completely free of charge. There are limits to the amount of people that we can have on this for obvious reasons. There are no sales pitches. It's not about that. We're going to demonstrate what we know. People will come to us if they want to. It's 1 p.m., 23rd of June. There are spaces left. I don't know how many. Maybe Kirsty will tell us in a minute. Small number of attendees, and there will be notes and some key screens provided afterwards. There's a few PowerPointy type screens, and I think there's a bit of live stuff goes on in there as well. So if you would like to come to that and you're listening or watching this live now in real time, just put live in the comments and we'll pick that up. If not, then email live to kirsty@flair.co.uk. And if we've got American viewers of this, that's not Christy, it's Kirsty. Kirsty. So if you want to have your own show and see how that can benefit your BD in the new world, turn up at Kirsty's workshop and learn all about it.
Yeah, and although I've been spending a lot of time getting really interested in what Darren said, I am quite good at this. So I will be telling people how to do this as we go through. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. I enjoy these things, as is obvious now. So thank you for that. Darren, back to you. Let's bring it back now. So you've given us a lot about understanding kind of the way that LinkedIn works now, some small things that I think would have a really large impact on how we get our audience to interact, how we get our messages in front of the right audience. But if I wanted to combine LinkedIn with BD, because, you know, I want to make money from this, you know, I know there's a lot of sowing seeds now in order to have a harvest later. But how do I kind of use the LinkedIn posts with BD activities? How do I do that?
So the biggest thing is storytelling, right? So, for example, on my post, I wouldn't say book a demo with Paiger. I'd say this is how a 10-head recruitment business managed to increase NFI by X by implementing ABC. You can do this without technology. Technology just makes it easier, right? I tell a story about the outcomes and how it works, because that's far more powerful, because you don't even need to have a call to action at the end of that to say, go to Paiger, book a demo, right? You don't need to do that, because people will automatically go, you're talking about me. I'm that recruiter. I need to go find out more about what this is. I'm going to self-explore. So the biggest thing is decide what your stories are. You've got testimonials, you've got case studies, turn them into stories, and then use those stories as your content. But the biggest thing is that posting alone doesn't create revenue. Right? It's one part of your plan. So what people think is, if I post every day and I wait, then people are going to come, right? That is just not how it works. It may have used to work like that in the past, but that's not how it works, right? So the better approach is to decide what are the signals when people need your services. Now, if we come to recruitment, it can be as simple as funding rounds. It can be M&A activity. It could be senior hires. It could be company growth. There's all different signals. So what I want you to do is look at your last 10, 20 placements and actually go a step back. Why were they hiring? What triggered that hire? And then actually talk about that. That can be part of your stories. This company had this happen to them. That led to this. And we then helped solve the problem. And the result was X. So decide your stories, decide your signals. And if you think about those signals, how early can you identify them? If it's a M&A activity, fantastic. You need to start tracking M&A activity in your market. And then what you can do is then build out a plan where if we see that a company acquires X, we know that the end result is needing a placement, right? But there's a journey that happens between that. The two CEOs are going to be talking of the two businesses that merge. I want to make sure that I connect with both of those people. Right? That's number one in my cadence. I'm then going to put a post out about when you acquire another business, the most difficult part is integrating the two. This is a story about how a client did it. And you can join my podcast next week talking about this topic. Right? That's number two. And then you can go, right, I need to make sure that I'm in their inbox with that podcast. I'm going to send them a message. But now I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call them and say, look, I just wanted to make sure that you've seen this. I'll connect with you on LinkedIn. Congratulations on the event. I've got a podcast happening next week. It's live. It's going to be on LinkedIn. I just want to make sure you're attending. Appreciate you're busy. I can send you the recording after. Would that be all right? Yeah, absolutely. Not once have I told them, I want to fill your jobs. Yeah, I'm just building up trust and credibility. So I'm not going to give you the whole thing, but I'd map that out. And the first thing to do is start at the end result, find the story, what was the trigger, and then all you've got to do is go, how do I get more of those triggers to end up at that point?
Can I just pick on that, a couple of things in there, because that's the model that we use, weirdly. We've installed a separate thing at the top, which you just saw a few seconds ago. We have workshops. So they tend to be smaller, 8 people normally, right? So some 6 to 8 people. And we don't sell in them, as I just said. Kirsty will be doing that to demonstrate her expertise. And if somebody in there says, I really want to do that, Kirsty, can you help me? Awesome. If not, equally awesome. You take away, maybe you'll come back another time or tell someone else about it. And I think this idea of taking from the masses of people on LinkedIn and self-identifying some of them because they come to an event like this, or they come to a webinar where you know who people are, and then getting them from that to a workshop environment or a round table perhaps, which is much more intimate. It's incredibly simple to get a conversation after that. It's easy to do it. It's not easy like now. If I rang everybody up who's attending this event now, some of them it would be normal because I've spoken before. Some of them it wouldn't be weird because they attend lots of events that we run. But some of them it would just be weird. It just would be weird.
Yeah.
What we're looking for is interaction first.
Sales is all about timing, whether you need software or people. And we're not in an economy right now where people are going, oh, do you know what? Actually, I'm going to put an extra hire into my budget because they're that good. We're just not in that economy. So right now, we need to be actually talking to them at the right time when they're actually needing your services. Ideally, you're talking to them 3 months before they even realize they do. But you know they do because you know what signals are and what the trends are, etc.
Well, in our day, we used to call them triggers and pre-cons. So in IT, a precondition would be they've just taken a new piece of software. Right? They just signed for a new piece of software. They're not going to hire anyone immediately, but it's a sign that they're going to. And then the trigger would be when they're starting to talk to people and the permies want to go onto the new software, which is leaving a whole bunch of old software that the contractors can look after. And we knew as soon as that conversation was being had, we knew to go in and say, well, I tell you what, why don't you just outsource all of that old stuff to us? We'll just look after it. And we picked up literally millions, and I'm not using that as hype, millions of pounds of business because we followed the pre-con trigger model. So it's nice to know that's still working now as well as it ever did. You just have to know what to look for to spot them, don't you? That's the bottom line.
Yeah, and take the time to step back, look at your placements, because so many people think, oh, it's because of that cold call, that's the reason we got the placement. No, something happened in that business that meant they had a need for your services, which is why the cold call resonated. So let's go a step back and go, right, how do I find more people that match this? How am I going to track these signals? Whatever it may be. It could be really simple as they open a new office, right? But how are you finding out when people open new offices? Because right now it might be by luck. And if you're running your business on luck, good luck.
Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, I think another thing with placements, a lot of placements are replacing people who have left, either because I think few people are massively growing at the moment. So it's replacing someone that's left, and they've either left because they've handed the notice in. Well, hard to predict that, although there are signs that you can see. But it's much easier if a hiring manager has got someone working for them and they're thinking, do you know what? I don't think they're going to make it. You've got to go through a process. I don't think they're going to make it. And if you publish for those people, there'll be a connection. It's like if you talk, as you say, a story about spotting someone in the team that's not delivering, you're trying everything to bring them around. But ultimately, sometimes you just have to say enough is enough, and you're probably going to be better off if you go somewhere else, and we can try to get someone else in.
I think you can predict it, because let's say I'm a DevOps recruiter in London. How many DevOps CVs do I have in my CRM in London? So what I can then do is take them, put them into your choice of AI, and tell me what the average tenure is of a DevOps engineer within this sector. And actually, then that's my story. And I can go to companies that have got DevOps engineers that are just coming around that point. And I'm going to say, look, just on my research and the way we work with customers, normally 3 years and 2 months and 4 days is the average tenure. Where do you think Jamie's head's at? That's just an interesting conversation to have with a CTO.
I think that's really good. The other thing on that just reminded me from days gone by, I'm not sure whether this still holds, but back in the day, when someone had put a supply list together, PSL, after 9 months, they would throw somebody off. Almost certainly they'd make a mistake. They put someone on that shouldn't be there. They give them a chance. They give them another chance. Gone. So if we didn't get on a supplier list, we would start again in 9 months' time. We would go for them again. And I would say probably a third of the time that we did that, we got onto the list. It's quite high. I've got the numbers with me now because it's a long time ago. But we knew that happened. And I think that's a similar kind of stories. You can predict based on existing data what's going to happen. I think that's a really good suggestion there, Darren.
And just remember that every phone call you make, every email you send, every LinkedIn message, they do check out your profile and they ask themselves one question: why should I trust this person with my business? And that's where your LinkedIn content comes in. So you might not reach 10,000 people, but that one decision maker that you'll be trying to get into for 6 months, views your profile, sees your post and goes, this person actually knows what to do.
On that then, I need to ask you a question. AI produces a lot of written work, we know that.
Yeah.
And produces very dodgy pictures that you can put on there as well. Good luck with that, right? But what it can't do, well, it can do, but what it can't do effectively for the average person is to produce extremely lifelike video content that you can tell is real and not AI generated. You know, there's some very good AI generations, but average people like us aren't using them. So does that mean that video, you talk about trust as well, you look someone in the eye, you can see them speak, you can see their mannerisms, you can see body language if they're lying, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can get from a video that you can't get from a written equivalent post. Do you think video is increasing in importance, even though it doesn't get massive amounts of impressions or views or anything? Is it becoming more important?
Yeah, I mean, if you think back, in university, they used to teach the 7 touch points for someone to trust you in business. It's now 33 that they teach.
Yeah, I heard, yeah.
You've got to increase the amount of touch points, right? And a touch point can be as simple as a comment, you know, it can be as simple as a like, it can be as simple as that. But if you think about video, for me, it accelerates that. If I'm watching a video of you talking about my industry, you're showing your expertise, I feel like I know you as a person. You'd be amazed how many people stop me. This is going to sound really weird. I was in Centre Parks with my kids, right? And we're in the pool and someone comes up to me like, I'm in my shorts, it's a bit weird. But he's like, no, I'm a recruiter. I love what you do, right? You don't get that without video. So it is about creating trust within your community, and that will absolutely lead to offline conversations as well. So yeah, video absolutely plays a part. I love technology. I'm a techie at heart, right? I love AI. I use it all day, every day, but I use it to get me 95% of the way there. The final 5% has to come from you. And even if you take video is your way to break through the AI nonsense that's happening right now. You know, we're all getting hit with thousands of spam emails, thousands of LinkedIn messages that clearly aren't written by a human being. If you want to showcase yourself, pick up your phone, use a video. It will break through that nonsense. And it is a limited time.
I think it's an interesting point you make, though, because we have so many choices of people that we can talk to now. Whatever we buy, whatever service or product we buy, we've got so many choices now. The internet has opened the world up. So you could, back when I started, it was tiny. You could pick people up and speak to the CTO of a company, pick a phone up and speak to them, right?
Yeah.
Those days are all gone now. So you are doing it in layers. There's layers. There's that's an interesting person, or that's an interesting comment. It doesn't mean they're then going to ring you up and say, hey, I saw your video. You should, send a proposal in. It's in layers, isn't it? We call it the relationship bridge. And the more layers you put on the bridge, the stronger the bridge becomes. And at some point, that bridge will become so strong that you can walk across and get what you want, or they'll walk across to you and ask for it. And I think that layers, there is nothing too small to be a layer. Could be a comment, could be a video live, could be coming on the show, it could be anything really. It's a layer. And our job as relationship builders is to put as many layers on that relationship bridge as we can, to make it as strong as we can, and then keep
reinforcing the same message. I like the bridge analogy because we're reinforcing the bridge, right? How many people have seen me on LinkedIn talking about LinkedIn? Reality is I've been talking about it for 7-8 years, and I won't stop because I'm reinforcing the fact that if you want to do more on LinkedIn, I'm that trustworthy person you can speak to about it, right? The reality is the best recruiter brands are the ones that are boring. One market, one audience, and one problem, and you need to keep reinforcing that same market, same problem, same audience.
Yeah, we've got a really good comment here, Mike, actually from Holly, who said LinkedIn is also liking video content, and when you see someone on the feed, you feel like you can trust them more because you see them as a person. I agree, Holly.
I think because you can see the body language. Human beings are programmed to read body language because it's a self-protection mechanism from when we were animals living in the jungles of Africa or wherever we lived. So we have to be able to assess whether someone's going to be a threat to us, not by what they say to us, what they're doing. So this is a human thing that we've had for millennia, and it still applies now on LinkedIn. Although I don't suppose Darren's going to try and eat us. He might. I don't know. He looks a bit hungry, but the point is that you can tell by looking at people a bit about them, and that actually, thinking about it with my choice of shirt, maybe that's not a good thing. I don't know.
Definitely not with that choice of shirt, which is loud, let's put it that way. But I have two things. One, I agree with Darren. We get people all the time who come up to us, who talk to us like they know us because they see us on the show regularly. Everybody says I'm taller than they think I am, though. I'm very tall, so that's probably that. But the second thing I want to ask, based off what you were saying, I have a question that I get asked a lot, and Darren, I appreciate your answer. When you do a video post, do you still have to write a text bit to go with it, or can I just let the video sing for itself, or do I have to just do a nominal thing?
For me, the text is if you want to direct LinkedIn's algorithm what the video is about. So it does try and detect the transcript. Sometimes it gets it horribly wrong. So the text for me is your opportunity to direct the algorithm gods on what this video is about. And if you want to have a call to action, like you want to drive people to sign up for something, then put it in the text. It's much easier, but you don't have to. At the end of the day, good video content is what will grab people. You may have noticed on the mobile app now they've put the video to be where the notifications used to be, so people are clicking on it. They've done that purposely. It's a UX trick, so that people are used to pressing there. That then takes them through to the video feed. So LinkedIn's pushing content. You need to get comfortable with it, and I wouldn't overthink it. Basically.
Perfect.
Oh God, no. I mean, we've been doing video for years. And I know I'm not the greatest on video. I certainly don't look the greatest. I'm old and saggy and a bit creaky around the edges.
What?
Thank you, Kirsty. I will re-look at the will now, because I don't think the brothers have said that to me for ages. But I don't think it matters. What matters is, can you be yourself? Just be who you are. And have you got something to say that's going to be relevant? Because put those two things together and you'll be okay. Do watch your shirt choice, though, is my tip.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
so we have kind of come towards the end of the show. In a second, we're going to come to Darren for his top tip. Now, he's given us quite a lot of tips in this, which were sort of unexpected and I love. So we're going to come for his final top tip in a second. But before then, Michael, let's talk about our next show.
Okay, so it's weirdly, it sort of dovetails into what we were talking about a few seconds ago with Darren, but we're going to talk about real networking, because networking has got a bit of a bad rep. It's turned into basically going to events and talking to people. And I promise that is not networking. That is not a network that builds empires. It's just a series of connections, right? So there is a definition of real networking, and there is a framework which will help you build more business relationships and monetize them. That there is a framework. It's existed for thousands of years. We've just updated it. That's all, with the modern technology that we have. It's about building trust and rapport. It's about building confidence, and it's about showing respect. And it's never changed. How he does it has changed because of all the tech that we have. But we're going to show you that in the next show. And I would urge you, based on this one, to come along and watch that, because it's probably not what you think. I'm certainly not going to be showing you how to attend events, drink warm Chardonnay, and have small talk. No, not at all. So come along to that. It's going to be a great show.
And eat stale crudités. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. So, Darren, you have given us so many little things that we could do throughout the show. I am thrilled, in case it's not obvious. But people are watching this and they think, right, LinkedIn, I understand it's different the way it was. I understand some things I need to do. But from your point of view, what is the number one thing that they should do?
So I'm going to come on to what I'm going to have a top tip, but I've got one thing I want to end on really is that the ones that are winning today are people that combine content, signals, and outbound, and you do it consistently. And if you do those consistently, you get consistent pipeline. But if we come onto the content bit, because I think that's what we're talking about here, it is that video piece. And if you look at me, Mike, you're saying you've got saggy skin. I'm a lazy-eyed fat bastard, right? And when I first started Paiger, I was a software developer scared to pick up the phone. So the only thing I could do was post on LinkedIn. I had to get over myself very, very quickly and accept that I'm going to post video and I don't care what people say. So many people build it up. They're going to comment saying, oh, why are you doing that? Why are you doing this? Reality is we all want people to be successful. We all want to lift each other up, right? If they don't, just block them, delete them, get over it, get your camera out, put a video out. I promise you good things will happen.
I love that. I love it because it ties in so much with us. It's not as scary as you think. People are much nicer than you think. And if you've got something to say, they don't care about the little things. They care about the value that you're adding.
Can you put my top tip on there, Kirsty?
Yeah. Yeah. His top tip is the same as Darren's top tip, which is, I think, theft.
No. It's a reinforcement. But it's true. I've been recently publishing a video a day, a 90-second video on one small thing. And I'm getting a lot more traction from that than I'm getting from the written posts that take me ages to produce. So just putting that out there.
I love it. Okay. Well, we have finished pretty much bang on time. So first of all, I want to thank everybody who's watched, those people who've put comments in. Thank you so much. We love that you come and watch us live. It makes this so much more fun for us. I want to say a huge thank you for Darren because you made me forget my job today. So thank you so much. You gave us so much knowledge. You gave us so much. So I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Darren, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Very good. And I guess I should say thanks to Mike for also adding value and also not sharing that shirt with those on the podcast, only those who are watching us live.
I say that, but envy has a very strange way of coming out, doesn't it? Is all I'm going to say. Probably going to leave you that. Yeah, I like to echo that. Thank you very much, Darren, for coming on the show. I knew it was going to be good, but it was even better than I thought it was going to be. So thank you for that. And I suppose, thank you, Kirsty, the hostess with the mostest on the Mars show. She does a great job and I appreciate that. And don't forget, if you want to learn how to do this, pop over and attend the free workshop. I'm sure you'll learn a lot from that.
Yes, indeed. And thank you so much. We'll see you in 2 weeks when we're talking about real networking.